AFR On Demand is brought to you by Breck Golf. Try Beaver Creek today, just 20 minutes from downtown Baton Rouge in the Zachary area. They've got a PGA Tour driving range, a short game practice area, 30 to 40-yard practice shots. It's a great place to chip and putt and practice if you don't have time for a full round. Book your tee time today, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
Let's ride!
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It is AFR. We're presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com. I'm Matt. We're here at the Post Oak Hotel in Houston today for the 40th annual Paul Bear Bryant Awards. Alondra's on site. Muse, Paul, you're back in studio, and glad to have you hanging out with us here. First time coming to this event. They extended the invite. Was happy to come. And it's amazing. I mean, every coach, effectively, a lot of coaches are here, and they are all very generous with their time. And so we're going to have the opportunity to talk to a lot of them. You'll hear from Philip Fulmer coming up here in about a dozen minutes from right now. Also, still to come, Tony Elliott, our Virginia head coach. The Cavaliers went 10-2 this year, just missed out on the college football playoff. Bob Chesney leaving JMU for UCLA. You'll hear him coming up in just a little bit as well. So we're glad to have you hanging out. Let me take a moment here and let's get caught up on what is the gigantic news for LSU as Lane Kiffin continues trucking along to put the finishing touches on what is an historic portal cycle. On Wednesday, early morning hours Wednesday, Princewill Unmanmielen, his name did in fact appear in the transfer portal. And late Wednesday morning, Princewill Unmanmielen made it official, signing with LSU. So LSU adds the leading sack getter from Ole Miss this past season, and this one was a little tenuous if you didn't follow along throughout the process. For Unmanmielen, he declared his intention to go in the portal after having already signed his rev share agreement to return to Ole Miss next year. So Ole Miss, late last week, delayed, intending to hold him to his signed agreement. Well, obviously, if a player wants to go in the transfer portal, and they have a signed agreement, you could have a paid buyout, which is the case here with Princewill Unmanmielen. As I understand it, it is going to be about a mid-six-figure, $500,000 or thereabouts buyout for Princewill Unmanmielen. As I understand, that money is to come from the revenue share. So LSU is going to buy out Princewill Unmanmielen's contract with Ole Miss and then pay him a seven-figure deal to be here at LSU in 2026. On the field, we can have the financial conversation, similar to like we've had with Jordan Seaton. You can have the financial conversation. Is it worth investing that much in one player, committing the money to the buyout? We can have that conversation. And if you can afford it, okay. It's almost like the Dodgers in Major League Baseball. If there's no salary cap and you can afford it, then spend it. If you want to win, spend to win. Okay. The on-field component of this is undeniable. You're talking about a guy that is central casting when it comes to an edge rusher. He's 6'4", he's 245, had 9 sacks at Ole Miss this past year, was a top 100 prospect when he started his career at Nebraska, transferred to Ole Miss, and was outstanding this year. So you have a guy with multiple years of starting experience, SEC experience, is a plug-and-play starter. And when you look at the edge rushers for LSU, you have a lot of promise, which you didn't have coming back or coming in was a lot of proven production. Gabriel Relaford's coming off an ACL. You have young guys that you're excited about, like Dylan Carpenter, Kalaj Cobbins, and then you went into the transfer portal and added a guy like Jordan Ross, who was a former 5-star, the number 1 edge rusher in the country when he signed with Tennessee, but again, just 1.5 sacks in 2 years. And then you have guys in this portal cycle that are a little bit like Achilles Woods, who we've talked about, guys that are a little bit more of projects that you're hoping you can bring in and develop at that position. You had Princewill Unmanmielen, and you're talking about a guy that is an immediate plug-and-play guy that's probably going to lead your team in sacks and gives you a guy instantly that can win one-on-one matchups and give you a pass rush without having to scheme a pass rush. So an incredible get here that puts LSU now at 41 portal additions. And the one big name remaining in the transfer portal is Jordan Seaton. And I know this is the one that everyone's kind of keeping an eye on because you're talking about a guy that is not only the best in the country at his position, but also what is a major position of need for LSU. The quick catch-up since last we spoke, Seaton on Tuesday morning did in fact fly to Atlanta. Tuesday night, a lot of people noticed on social media that Lane Kiffin tweeted that he was on the MMR plane. For those that don't know, I know many people who are LSU fans are familiar with Baton Rouge. MMR it's an industrial services company based out of Baton Rouge. The present CEO, founder is Pepper Rutland, who played football at LSU, was a team captain in the 70s. A genuinely good man. I've always enjoyed my brief interactions with Pepper Rutland. But anyway, so Lane Kiffin, I then learned, flew to Atlanta to see Jordan Seaton. Seaton's uncle, who is managing his recruitment, posted on his Instagram a pin from Tuesday late morning in Atlanta. And so Lane Kiffin and several staff members flew to Atlanta to see Seaton, to get some FaceTime, to take one final swing there. And then we later saw that Dan Lanning posted a photo with Seaton in Atlanta. So Lanning got on a plane and went to Atlanta. And Lanning, by the way, is here in Houston today, and we may well have him on the show. But as I've been told with the Seaton situation, LSU did a remarkable job of recruiting him. Remember, he went from Mississippi State on Friday, Miami Saturday, Baton Rouge Sunday. Monday, he was supposed to go to Eugene, Oregon. He spent all day Sunday and all day Monday in Baton Rouge. Monday, of course, they took him to the governor's mansion. And then it was Tuesday morning that they flew to Atlanta, never going to Eugene. As I understand it, Seaton's uncle wanted him to take the visit to Eugene while LSU was pushing not to let him off campus. Joey McGuire was with us a bit ago, and he said it's like that. It's like in the NFL. It's that same, similar in this. Like when you get them on campus, you don't want them to leave without signing. It's like an NFL free agency. If they leave your facility without signing, it's not a good sign. And so LSU is desperately trying to get him to sign without leaving. And they came very close. And as I understand it, Seaton wants to be at LSU. LSU desperately wants Jordan Seaton. Seaton's uncle maybe was having a little bit of a time being convinced, and so that's what has delayed this. I can't tell you definitively at this moment that LSU is out of it. I don't think that is the case. I did have someone very familiar with this recruitment earlier today say that LSU's chances, the word this person used, were dwindling at landing Jordan Seaton. So not over. I talked to another person very familiar and involved in this recruitment who said it's just another opportunity to go prove themselves again to Jordan Seaton. So LSU's not giving up on this recruitment. But I don't know that they feel as good with Seaton no longer on campus as they did when he was in Baton Rouge. But if I do have one big takeaway from what we've seen from Lane Kiffin in this portal cycle, and certainly evidenced Tuesday night, is the level of buy-in from Lane Kiffin and the way and manner in which he is recruiting and working is pretty incredible. I don't know if you could pull up the cut from Lane from yesterday when he spoke at the Baton Rouge Business Report luncheon, but he spoke about how this opportunity has pushed him in new ways. He was working very hard at Ole Miss, but this has pushed him to go farther, to do more. And I think this is evidence of it. Because even if they don't end up landing Seaton, I think one of the incredible things that we can all look at and say, man, that's impressive, is that on a Tuesday night, after a 48-hour visit, and it looked like maybe this kid was slipping away, Lane Kiffin didn't pick up a phone. He got on a plane and flew to Atlanta for a couple hours to visit with him, similar to what he did with Sam Leavitt when he went and saw him in Knoxville at the airport. It's an all-out approach to build the best roster to try to win a championship. And I think that's one of the things that it's pretty remarkable when you see the way that Lane Kiffin and the staff are working. I mean, he is tweeting at 4 a.m. that he's at the football ops building. And then last night when he gets back from Atlanta, he's back at football ops at 10 p.m. You have a relentless worker, a guy that is pursuing championships at LSU, and certainly, clearly, LSU is giving him all the resources that he will need, like after already signing 40 players in this transfer portal to go at Princewill Unmanmielen as well. Okay, if we have updates there, we'll certainly pass it along to you. It's after further review. Let me knock out a quick break. We're going to let's share a conversation with former Tennessee coach Philip Fulmer here in just a smidge. We're brought to you by Parrish Construction and Roofing. Tell you every day, do business with someone you know. Go to parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. Remember, I really want to stress the importance of maintaining your roof. That we have a great video up on our social right now of Tim Rusk, one of our great inspectors and sales reps, walking through potential hazards on your roof, softness on the soffit. He gets up on a ladder and shows how when leaves get in the trenches of your roof, you're talking about a spot where water could pool and that could create damage. All that to say, these are very easy things to fix, and a roof inspection is free. So let us come give you that free, no-obligation roofing inspection for your residential or commercial building, so that way we can help extend the life of your roof, clean your roof, make sure that your roof is safe when storm season comes. We can take care of any small issues to prevent them from becoming very big issues. Parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. Do business with someone you know. Parrish Construction and Roofing, parishbuilt.com. All right, it is after further review. Thanks for hanging out with us here. By the way, hat tip to LSU legend, Louisiana Sports Hall of Famer, April Coulter, who was a guest on our show multiple times during our Football Friday shows over at Don Juan Cigar Bar. April lives in Houston. She's a rep for Sagamore Spirit Rye. And April, I don't know how she knew we were here, but she popped up and she brought me a bottle of Sagamore. So I got it here on the desk with me here at Post Oak. But it was great to see April just a bit ago, and love telling you about Sagamore Spirit Rye. I may just have a little nip later in the hotel room tonight. It's after further review. We're glad you're hanging out with us here. Let me knock out a quick break. Our conversation with Tennessee legendary coach Philip Fulmer coming up in just a bit. Stay here at AFR.
AFR.
If you're thinking of selling your home, call Darren James. Here's his cell. 335-7666, 335-7666, 335-7666. That is actually Darren's cell. You want to call him, text him, you can do it right now. 335-7666, or you can go to agent225.com. If you're thinking about selling your home, I can't imagine why you would call anyone other than the realtor who literally sells more homes than anyone. Listen, Darren's reputation is earned. The numbers are the proof. Wall Street Journal's listed the top 1% of realtors in America, number 14 in the country. Incredible. That's on the transaction side, the number of homes sold. But the entire experience, the process of selling or buying a home with Darren is just unmatched. Relentless effort. He always says, late to bed, early to rise, work like heck and advertise. Promise, you're going to have a great experience with Darren. He's going to get your home sold. Agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
At Arizona State University, we're bringing world-class education from our globally acclaimed faculty to you. Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online. That's a degree better. Learn more at asuonline.asu.edu.
After further review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
All right, glad you're rolling along with us here on this Hump Day edition of AFR, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Remember, yes, they do ED treatments, but so much more. Hormone replacement therapy, peptides, which I've had a ton of success with. I just encourage you so much. If here in 2026, you want to feel your best, live your optimal life, our friends at Goodwood can help. Yourgoodwood.com. And remember, it's 3 businesses in one. Goodwood is the men's clinic. And then you've got Unique Physique, which are your GLP-1s. That's the weight loss peptide that you hear people talk about all the time. And then Unique Aesthetics and Wellness is the aesthetics clinic. So That's hormone replacement therapy for women, but also laser therapies and body contouring and all that, Botox, all that amazing stuff. It's all there in one on Drusilla in Baton Rouge. Learn more at yourgoodwood.com, yourgoodwood.com. We're here in Houston today at the Post Oak Hotel for an amazing event. It's the Paul Bear Bryant Coach of the Year Awards, and it's our great pleasure to be here. It's the first time we've brought the show here, and we appreciate very much the invite. And Dan DeArmond, who is a Baton Rouge guy, works with the American Heart Association as the Vice President here at the Bryant Awards. Sir, it's a pleasure. Thank you for the time. How are you?
Absolutely. Glad to be with you all. I'm an Episcopal Knight, class of 83. Been in Houston for 30 years, and appreciate y'all being here. I was great running around the coaches today with my LSU stuff on today. Like, love it. What's happening here? So, got to wave the flag.
Wearing your LSU stuff with a Coach Bryant lapel pin, so you can serve both in that moment.
It's interesting. So Bear's only grandson is on our board. When I first got the job almost 4 years ago, telling him who I was, I said, Paul, to be honest with you, here's the deal. I'm purple and gold all the way through. He goes, I respect that. We love coming there. I went, yeah, I know you did. Yeah. But no, it was great. It's great.
They've had quite a bit of success in Baton Rouge over the years, so I don't blame them. But total novice, this is the 40th year of these awards, which is incredible. Total novice, what are the Bryant Awards?
So it's the College Football Coach of the Year, right? So Bear Bryant, as a lot of your listeners know, died of a heart attack about a month after he retired. They wanted to do something to honor his legacy, raise money to fight heart disease, approached the American Heart Association and said, hey, we want to do something meaningful. So that's how it all came about. It's been in Houston for about 35 of the 40 years. So we honor excellence in coaching, both on and off the field. We added a Newcomer of the Year award a couple years ago. We got a fan favorite vote winner. We have a Lifetime Achievement Award and a special contributor award called Heart of a Champion. So it's a pretty special night.
Yeah, and this is also we'll talk about the coaches in just a second, but this is also an event centered around, as you mentioned, fundraising and awareness for the American Heart Association, which I know that's your role here. Maybe can you elaborate a little bit more on what this event means for the American Heart Association? It's
one of the biggest events that the American Heart Association has in the country. We're lucky to have it here in Houston. Obviously, it's close to Baton Rouge. We have some people coming over frequently to come over. You know, Coach O won this a few years ago, and Coach Saban when he coached us. But it's something that's very important to us. From a regional standpoint, from a national standpoint. And so all the money that we raise tonight benefits the American Heart Association mission, from education to trainings in town, of course, critical research that we do in Baton Rouge, we do here and all across the country.
How cool is it to get I think the validation? I mean, if it's 40 years, of course, since the Bryant Awards, but like get all of these coaches that their seasons just end, portal stuff going on, to all come to this event. How do you all pull all that together to get all these coaches here in this moment?
It is pretty special, but I think, you know, when you reach out and you mention the name Bear Bryant, it stops them in their tracks. Like anything associated with him, they honor that legacy. And let's face it, you know, a lot of younger maybe coaches coming up maybe don't know it that much, but a lot of these guys, all these guys here tonight, all have a very deep appreciation for what Bear did from a legacy both on and off the field. So it's pretty cool. So it's not that hard to get them to come. There's some scheduling stuff, as you talked about. I know a lot with portals and recruiting and things like that. But Houston's a pretty good recruiting bed. So as I'm sure all the coaches are telling you, some of them have been around. They did spend some time recruiting, and well, they should, you know.
Yeah, I was asking Coach Mack just a little bit ago about recruiting Houston, and I think he told me he spent some time coaching at Rice. So he's got a lot of pockets here already. That he
does. I ran into him last night. I once again had my LSU shirt on. And goes, yeah, I know. I'm recruiting over there too. I went, okay, now stay out of Baton Rouge, Coach.
He's had some success. So we were talking to him when he was at Tennessee. He recruited Dylan Sampson from Dutchtown, and actually it's when he saw Ricky Collins, who just transferred from Syracuse to Kennesaw State. So it's the whole thing. The connective tissue is always fascinating in coaching. And Dan DeArmond's with us here, the Vice President of the Paul Bear Bryant Awards. So I know we had a chance to talk to Coach Fulmer. Yeah. Who else is being honored tonight?
Well, we're honoring the memory of Mike Leach, Coach Mike Leach. His widow Sharon will be here along with their family. So what Mike did, as your listeners know, was obviously he was an innovator. He was a different sort of a coach. When you look at his tree, it's pretty amazing. So what he did, it really changed the game. We're very fortunate that one of his limbs off his tree, former assistant Sonny Dykes, Dykes, TCU's head coach, will be here. So he's going to come up and say a few words about what Coach Leach meant to the sport and coaching. Yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah.
If I have the website up here, it's BryantAwards.org. If you want to learn more, BryantAwards.org. If people are listening, they want to learn more, they want to help, or want to help the American Heart Association, what's the best way to do that?
Well, you mentioned it. I just go right on the front page. You see it. There's a donate button, and like you said earlier, we're raising money here tonight, and all the proceeds benefit that. So if you're a college football fan and appreciate it, and let's face it, we've all been touched by heart disease, either directly or somebody in our family. So we'd appreciate the consideration. So click that button, and all donations are welcome.
Yeah, my son's a 2-time Zipper Club member, so
wow.
we're very familiar as well.
Yeah. My father and sister are also survivors. So yeah.
But you're right. I think everybody knows somebody who's been touched by heart disease in some form or fashion. Last year at the there was a Go Red for Women luncheon benefiting the American Heart Association in Baton Rouge that we participated in.
Thank you for doing that.
Of course. If people maybe don't know, last thing, it's saying, okay, we're giving money to the American Heart Association. What does that do?
Yep, that's a beautiful thing. So I mean, a lot of the money that were donated, in Baton Rouge and Houston, or whatever, stays in those communities from education, from training, CPR training. At the American Heart Association, one of the things that we want one person in every household in America to know hands-only CPR. We actually spend a lot of time with these coaches and with these teams. We'll go and we'll do trainings for their players. Of course, I mean, at LSU and everybody across the country, they've got great trainers, right? But these student athletes, they go home. They've got roommates, they've got family members, so they're going to know that life-saving skill. So that's where the funds go.
Yeah, great point. How the Tigers are going to be next year? You feeling good?
You tell me.
I mean, I know what
I'm optimistic, and as you know, there's a huge LSU fan base here in Houston, and we get pretty excited about it. So, personally, I think it would be great if we have a great season. Lane does great. We win a national championship. He comes here next year and accepts this award. I'd love it. Nothing more.
I'd love to be sitting in this very spot.
Me too.
For that exact same thing.
Me too.
Dan DeArmond, Vice President, Paul Bear Bryant Awards. Thank you for having us. Thank you for the time.
Appreciate you so much.
Of course, it is our pleasure. It is After Further Review. We're here in Houston at the Post Oak Hotel for the Bryant Awards here tonight. We're excited to be here. Love telling you about our friends over at Evamore, EVAMOR, evamore.com, evamore.com. Natural artesian water, a Louisiana product. One of the things I always stress. And by the way, they have national distribution. So yes, Evamore, the plant, the well, the artesian well is right there on the North Shore in Covington. Actually, the facility is built around the well. When you drive onto the property, you see it right there where they pipe the water out of. But they have national distribution. So when you drink Evamore, you're supporting a Louisiana business, a Louisiana product. It is Evamore, EVAMOR, evamore.com, evamore.com. You can buy it online at evamore.com, or you can find the great local retailers that sell it near you. Just go to the website, find a store, type in your zip code, and it'll pop up right there at evamore.com. EVAMOR, evamore.com. All right, y'all, it is After Further Review, and we're glad to have you hanging out with us here. Been a jam-packed show. We're about halfway home. If you missed it as we started the show today, Texas Tech head coach Joey McGuire was here. Vanderbilt head coach Clark Lee was here. We chatted with Coach Mack from Kennesaw State, who's here as well, as we started the show, and still a ton to do. Let me knock on a break. Come back. As you heard Dan mention, Philip Fulmer being honored, Lifetime Achievement. You'll hear our conversation with Coach Fulmer. And the worst loss of his coaching career. His words, not mine. You'll hear it next. Coming up here, it's AFR.
AFR.
We're brought to you by Clegg's Nursery with 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. By now, you know where they are. Seagonair Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. Tell you every day to buy local and shop local. So with the cold weather event coming up this weekend, I think it is important to know that at Clegg's, they do have frost protection cloths to protect your plants, and pipe wrap and faucet covers to protect your exposed water pipes. So, look, I mean, we don't deal with freeze as well. We're not equipped for it. It don't happen a lot here. So, in Louisiana. So, get everything wrapped, get those pipes protected before the cold weather gets here, get your plants protected. Clegg's has everything you need. So, get by any of the 4 locations, Seagan, Denham, Mid-City on Don Moore, and then Greenwell Springs. So get on by and tell them Matt sent you in. Buy local, shop local. Tell them Matt sent you in when you go see our friends at Clegg's Nursery.
After further review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Glad to have you back with us here. It is our pleasure to welcome aboard with us longtime Tennessee head football coach and national champion, Coach Philip Fulmer. Coach, it's a pleasure. How are you?
Thank you. Glad to be here. Coach,
I preparing for a conversation with you. Your career has spanned decades and you've done so much. It's so hard to know where to start. So I just thought it's almost like I just want to listen to you tell stories. So if I said, okay, for our audience all over Louisiana, Monday night post-Katrina, Tennessee comes in. What's the first thing you remember about that day in that game?
Rick Clausen had the game of his life.
Me too, unfortunately. That was such an odd scenario. Hey, are there other things that stand out about that?
Yeah,
game?
We came down on game day. We went to the hotel that morning after coming off the airplane and relaxed a little bit, but we didn't. There's no routine. Which, how coaches are. They want everything to have a routine about it. And our game day was gone, from that standpoint. But the kids did a great job of focusing. We obviously playing there is incredible. I always loved that game, either home or away. It was a big game, and people were excited about playing it. We probably wasn't as good a team as LSU, but we only had to play better than them that day, and our team did really well.
You mentioned home and away. There was a couple in Atlanta as well.
That's a dagger. My worst loss as a head football coach was that 2001 football game. It cost us a chance to play for the national championship in the Rose Bowl with Miami, and we did it to ourselves. But they played great, and we couldn't get out of our way. It seemed like there was a turnover late and fourth down and 1, and we've got it made, and we dropped the ball right there. So, not that I remember it all, right?
Oh, I remember that very well. I was a student at LSU, and that was a time where Atlanta felt like forbidden fruit to LSU fans, which shows how there's sort of this evolution in football. What about 2007? That was the crazy Les Miles, have a great day speech and all. You had to play a backup quarterback at Ryan Perilou. Was that a game that stands out for any reason in particular?
The championship game, yeah. The fake punt stands out. That was a great call and something we didn't do very well. Yeah, those were two really tough losses in your career. You find a few that you just wish would go away. They don't go away.
Well, all the losses, Coach.
Lewis himself was a character,
Oh yeah. Did you all get along? Did the coaching fraternity all get along?
No, we did. We had to some degree publicly, but always, everybody has their people that they are attached to just in life, right? Some better than others. And, coaches get along pretty good. If there's issues, we have the conference and the commissioner, and we address them.
Sure.
And we've had to do that a few times.
I'd imagine. We're here at the Bear Bryant Awards, and you're going to be honored tonight, which is incredible. And I think about this sometimes. As parents, our legacy tends to be our kids. I'm curious, as a coach, do you look at guys like Doug Marrone and Dave Clawson and David Cutcliffe, all these T. Martin, all these amazing coaches that have come up under you and gone on to do great things? Do you think about that while you're coaching or reflect on it now as part of your legacy?
I think more reflection now, looking back. I mean, we're all busy and we all have young families and, growing up, and you're day to day trying to be as good as you can be. But all those guys, and along with Dan Brooks and Steve Caldwell and Shane Beamer,
sure.
Those guys, they all were part of what we did together, because we did it as a family. We really culturally recruited that way and went about our work that way. We cared about each other. I very rarely had to release somebody for one reason or another. There were a couple. along the way, but we wanted it to be that way.
I got a couple of more minutes here with Coach Philip Fulmer, good enough to spend time with us. We talk so much about Coach Philip Fulmer. I was preparing and I was looking through your bio and your career. I ran across Philip Fulmer, the player, and man, what an incredible run. From 69 to 71, you all went 30-5 under Coach Dickey, and you played in the 1971 Sugar Bowl against Air Force?
Air Force, yeah. That's
Air Force in the Sugar Bowl?
Yeah.
So New Year's Day at Tulane Stadium in New Orleans. Tell me something about that game.
To put more color on it, back then there was only about 9 bowls,
right.
So 18 teams that are going to get a chance to go somewhere. And so playing in the Sugar Bowl was a huge deal, and Air Force was very good. Probably not as good as us. We beat Stu out of them, I think, if I remember right.
You did. Yeah, you beat this Stu out. Was it a cold day in New Orleans?
It was a rainy, ugly kind of day, and our defense was really good. Bobby Scott was Peyton's backup at New Orleans for all those years.
Sure.
Or Archie's backup.
Sure.
Yeah, he was our quarterback, and we had a good team. Yeah.
A couple of more things for you. One, just the honor to be here tonight, to be recognized. But you're kind of at the point where you've been removed enough from your coaching career. What does something like this mean as you continue to reflect?
This one particularly does. You get honored when you're older and out, and you maybe you've had some success, and those are nice and everything. All of them are good. But this one's particularly special for me because I committed to Alabama. I admired Coach Bryant so much. Growing up in Middle Tennessee, and it was closer to Tuscaloosa than it was to Knoxville. And my coach was everybody was a big Alabama fan then. They just won the 66 national championship again, one of those things. And it turned out they convinced me Coach Bryant was old, and he was probably 60, and I was a young prospect, and I decided I was going to go to Tennessee. Tennessee had beaten Alabama, and the young coach and Doug Dickey, and exciting, and Tennessee was excited, and I got sucked up in that too, which was great. And I wouldn't trade anything, but I really honored to be having Coach Bryant's name anyway attached to mine. I'm thrilled about that. Big circle for me,
It's an amazing accomplishment, an amazing career. It's our pleasure to be able a few minutes with you today. We can't thank you enough for stopping by.
Thank you for having me.
It's our pleasure. That is Philip Fulmer, our conversation with Coach Fulmer just a bit ago. We are brought to you by Parish Restoration, parishrestoration.com. Parishrestoration.com, kill mold, remove odor, rainy weather, you got water intrusion. You could have mold. You could have mold in your walls you're not even familiar with because, let's be honest, Louisiana is the mold capital of the world. It tends to be wet and humid. That is a breeding ground for mold. Have mold or think you might, parishrestoration.com, parishrestoration.com. They'll come, they'll spray their patented non-toxic dry fog. They'll knock out mold, dozens of other harmful pathogens as well. So if you want to sanitize your space, parishrestoration.com. That's parishrestoration.com. From your vehicle, your home, giant commercial buildings, doctors' offices, churches, schools. You want to sanitize a space where you got cold flu viruses going through. Parish Restoration can help. Parishrestoration.com. Parishrestoration.com. Okay, y'all. Our Hump Day show is brought to you by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. YourGoodwood.com. YourGoodwood.com. If you're just jumping aboard with us live, we're here in Houston today at the Post Oak Hotel for the 40th Annual Paul Bear Bryant Awards. Philip Fulmer will be honored tonight with a Lifetime Achievement. But so many coaches across the college football landscape are here, and we're excited to be here to continue bringing some of these conversations. I did chat. We are going to have Russ Mitchell join us for our season recap, something we typically do on the Wednesday after the national championship. So Russ is set to be with us at 5:15 Central, so here in about 35 minutes or so. Let me knock out a quick break. We'll come back, wrap up hour number 2. Our conversation with Virginia head coach Tony Elliott is one I think you're really going to enjoy. That's next here on AFR.
AFR.
Hey, it's not too late. It's not too late to call River City's 1 Hour Air for that heater safety check. If you haven't done this yet this season, it's time. Because you should do it every year. If you didn't have your heater safety check last year, it's really time. If you can't remember the last time you had your heater inspected, brother, it is way long overdue. Call this moment. 752-0001, 752-0001, 752-0001, 752-0001. Call. You'll talk. I promise. Call right now. You will talk to a living, breathing human. You're not going to get a robot. You're not going to get AI. You're going to talk to a human that will help you schedule. They will send a technician to your house, and they will make sure that your heater is safe, efficient, and will extend the life of your unit. 752-0001 for River City's 1 hour air, where they're always on time, or you don't pay a dime.
After further review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Back here from the Paul Bear Bryant Awards at the Post Oak Hotel in Houston. Got you caught up on the chair, Coach?
Oh, exactly where I want to be. Yep, it's perfect.
Coach Bob Chesney is good enough to join us. By the way, Colmont, Pennsylvania?
Yeah, Colmont.
Okay,
Yep, Colmont, Pennsylvania.
2,758 people.
That's right.
Wikipedia lists Joe Baskey, George Evans, a comic book artist, and Bob Chesney as the three most notable people from Colmont. Are you the most famous person in the history of your town?
I don't know. Joe Baxey back in the day was a legendary fighter and did a whole lot of stuff out there. I'm sure he had a lot more, more juice than I do.
I don't know.
The next town over, pretty cool is another town called Mount Carmel, and Brett Veach currently, who's the GM of the Chiefs, works over there. So he and I are pretty close and keeping good contact, and just a lot of really proud, hardworking, tough people come out of there. Over the summers, I literally mined coal was one of my jobs to do. And it's just what you did. Everybody kind of did it and bought in and believed in that town and added value. And that's what a lot of similarities to what you're trying to do within college football.
But it's interesting because your entire career, as I look at it, Salve Regina in D3, Assumption, Holy Cross, JMU, you're an East Coast guy.
Yeah.
And now, boom, LA.
Yeah.
How's that different? Aside from the obvious, it's a beach.
Yeah, geographically, it's different. The weather's significantly different. My wife called me the other day. She said it's 7. Our pipes are bursting. I said, well, it's 77 and sunny, and it seems to be that way every single day I wake up out here. So that's a little different. No, but there's definitely a lot of differences. And I think for me, to have all the connections like we have on the East Coast and to recruit there my entire life and to be just, just interlocked within those communities was something that you're kind of walking away from in a way, but you're allowing to still have those connections on the East Coast, but also you have to diversify and find, people that know the West Coast really well. So now in college football, it's a little different than assembling just a staff. You now have a recruiting department, and the majority of our recruiting department's coming out of West Coast ties. Our GM is a West Coast guy. And then we hired 2 or 3, guys on offense and defense as far as positional coaches that have those West Coast ties as well. So I wanted to keep a lot of it similar so that we didn't have to redo the entire thing and everybody have to learn from each other. Our offense, defense, special teams, strength and conditioning quarters are all the same. And then we knew we had to supplement some West Coast guys in there and also use that in the recruiting department. So there's a lot of differences. I think the thing with UCLA is it's the #1 public school in the country and most applied to school in the entire United States of America. So I think to look and think about the New Jersey, the prep schools, or you think about the New England, boarding schools, you think about a lot of the things that you had connections to on the East Coast, it still travels when you're going to the #1 public school in the country and most applied to school in the country.
And you're also talking about geographically in the Big Ten, playing a bi-coastal schedule. I guess you have to embrace everything as a positive, but what positives, what challenges arise that you're discovering here as you sort of peel back the layers of the onion at UCLA?
Well, I think what you start with is you just say, you always have to compare yourself to everyone else in the league. Where are you at? Where are you at as far as revenue share and NIL and third party, generated revenue? All the things that come with it are really questions you got to ask. And when you get into these recruiting battles, you don't really know until you have a chance to win a couple or lose a couple. And then you quickly understand that maybe people are playing a little bit differently. So that's important to just truly identify all the strengths and weaknesses of your program. But yes, to be bi-coastal and be able to be out here and play in Maryland and then play at Penn State and play in places where a lot of those guys, grew up and have affinities for, you still have an opportunity to put them in position where they could still see those places and be there. And again, with the #1 public education in the world.
So where are you in all those places?
Yeah. So as far as the recruiting and everything else is where we ranked. Things, I mean, that's still a deep dive that we're in the midst of right now. I think we have a pretty good understanding of just where we're at. I think we got to get a better understanding of where everybody else is at. We need more, like everybody else needs more. You get to the end of it and there's 3 or 4 kids you wish you could get and you just can't afford to get them. So I think that I'm sure everybody runs through that same exact scenario.
What is the and Bob Chesney is our guest, your head coach at UCLA, for a few more minutes. So, what is everyone is going to use the example of Indiana, right? Yeah. And UCLA has a far more historic program and wins. You have a lot of that tradition baked in, but Indiana showed it's possible.
Yeah,
like it don't matter who you are, it's possible. So, what do you think are the things? As you start to build your thesis of how UCLA is going to get there, what are the things that you're checking the box on?
Well, one thing that stands out to me with, I followed Coach Signetti at James Madison. Right. So I have a general idea of, a lot of the inner workings of that program. And for me, we ended up having to bring in 67 kids in the first year and we won our first ever bowl game. And then the next year went into 12-team playoff, right? I think with 50 some new guys again. So the question's not acquiring the talent. It's making sure that it's aligned, right? That they all believe in the same things. And that was one thing that we did not relent on at JMU. And we did not relent on in this last class that we just brought into UCLA. It was really important for me to sit there and say to you, you're coming here because you intend to win a Big Ten championship, but you will also put your team, your teammates, and then yourself dead last. So team, teammate, self. And my focus is on winning a Big Ten championship. I think the same rings true when you listen to those guys at Indiana talk. They all talk about the team and what they would do for that team. And I think when you're in a situation where people came here for money or came here for just location or came here for just one thing or the other, when it gets tough, you run to your purpose, right? And if our purpose could be, we intend to win a Big Ten championship and we're going to put our team, our teammates, then ourselves last. When it gets tough, we run to that. And when we run that way, right, and you get closer together and you continually find ways to give to other people, you got a chance. I think that's living, breathing proof of it, when you look at the Hoosiers.
Had you been to the Rose Bowl before you got hired?
I had not been to Rose Bowl before I've been hired. Nope.
So what are you had to go see it by now. What are your impressions walking up? LSU played there a few years ago. Got to go do broadcasts at the Rose Bowl. The LSU UCLA played at home in 21, and then the return trip to Baton Rouge was 24. So you missed that one. You missed the trip to Baton Rouge. Yeah. It's about 800 degrees, so you didn't miss much. Yeah. But seeing the Rose Bowl, your impressions?
Well, I just think it's the granddaddy of them all. I think when you look at that facility, you walk through that tunnel, and you just could feel the aura that comes off of that place, and just the history, and not only for football. So many great moments. When you look around that inside there and just see the moments that happened in there. I think the U.S. women's national team when Brandy Chastain rips off her, that's one of the things, that just is in most recent memory, but there's so many more. And I think that, the fact that you're playing at that place, and I didn't realize how it's positioned with the hills around it. And it just sits in this most beautiful area. And I was there for the Rose Bowl game. I got to go down on the field, and it was one of the days where it rained, which it doesn't really rain. I said to them, I said, what's your plan for, they go, we don't have a plan for the rain. It has never rained in the history of the Rose Bowl. It's raining this one time and we're just going to get through it. Like, we're not going to build a plan because this is a, anomaly. So
you're like, I'm from Coltmont. I'm used to this.
No doubt. So it was one of those, it was just really, really cool to just feel it and see it, and then just to watch a game go on and imagine it, in a crowded stadium like it was. And I know that we haven't been able to do that in recent history, but that's my job, is to get out there and make sure that we're able to do that.
I watched LSU lose to UCLA at the Rose Bowl. I did not have a great memory of a beautiful stadium. The whole day was great. Yeah. We had a good weather for that day.
I'm sure.
The game itself didn't play out super great for the good guys. What is, I know we got to go in a second. What is Cowboy U?
Nothing to even worry about.
Do you get asked about this?
I do. Yeah. So long and short of it is, a little while back, it was probably 2006. I had friends that were in this Philadelphia casting company. Okay. And I was trying to go on a vacation. I was making, I think, $15,000 a year at that point in time. So I wanted to go on a vacation, but I wanted to not go to the beach. I wanted to go out into some ranch somewhere. And I've been seeing these things pop up. So I looked at the price tag. I'm like, well, it costs $10,000 to do. I can't do that. And I was talking to them. They said, well, there's a TV show coming out. If you want to, send in a video here for this. We'll help you make it and we'll do it. And I got selected to go on this show. I was out there for 27 days in the middle of the mountains, of the Rocky Mountains. And it was you had to get up every day, shower outside, make a fire to cook your own food. And then there were events. I rode a bull, wrestled steer, learned how to shoot guns off horseback, learn how to rope and all the things that come with it. So just a little different, a little bit different. That happened a long, long time ago, though. But
everybody's got a story. And now the guy from Cowboy U is the head coach at UCLA. He's up Bob Chesney. It's a pleasure, Coach. Thank you for the time.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thoroughly enjoyed our conversation with Bob Chesney. And as we start hour number 3, we're going to visit with Tony Elliott from Virginia, which a fascinating human. And what a story they had this year at UVA. We'll get to that in just a smidge. We are brought to you by South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at southpointvw.com. I was actually by the dealership just a day ago. Got to see a lot of my friends over there at South Point Volkswagen. Mr. Bill Reinhardt, who he's probably sold me, my family, 24 Volkswagens over the years. We talk about me, Erica, my mom, my dad, my cousin, my aunt, my uncle, my in-laws. I mean, it's amazing. But we keep going back because the vehicles are amazing. They're manufactured right here in the U.S. of A. They're affordable. They're luxurious. They're safe. And they got a vehicle for every style and need. South Point Volkswagen, Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer. SouthPointVW.com. SouthPointVW.com. South Point Volkswagen. What's your direction? Okay, y'all, it's after further review. Rolling along here, wrapping up hour number 2 here from the Bryant Awards in Houston. A busy third hour ahead. As we mentioned, our conversation with Virginia head coach Tony Elliott. You will love this conversation. That's coming up. Also, I'm told former Tiger national champion Rodney Reed is going to be here. He's on the Bryant board, and he's going to join us as well. So we got a ton to do as we move into hour number 3. Stay with us here. It's AFR.
After further review.
If you're thinking of buying land, your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. Say it every day. FirstSouthLand.com. FirstSouthLand.com. And this is the busiest time of the year for First South Farm Credit. And the reason is pretty obvious. If you're a hunter and hunting season's ending and you realize, I am so sick of sharing a lease with somebody else, I want my own stinking property. Well, First South Farm Credit can make that happen. So you start by going to FirstSouthLand.com. FirstSouthLand.com for First South Farm Credit. They've got an amazing resource there. It is the complete guide to buying recreational land. The Ultimate Recreational Land Buying Guide is what it's called. The Ultimate Recreational Land Buying Guide. You'll see it right there at the website at FirstSouthLand.com. Start there and start moving toward that dream of owning your own land. FirstSouthLand.com.